Hello everybody, how are you? It's a beautiful holiday weekend here in the US, but it's still kind of cold. But I've never been so happy for allergy season to finally get here. So if I clear my throat a little or sniff, please forgive me. Like that. I wanted to come up with a new bezel for bead embroidery, and I wanted something more minimalist, more clean, more modern, and I think I came up with something. I'll show them to you. This is the first one on this tiny cab. I don't know the size of it. I'm math challenged that way, and I went larger. And I love it. Love it. This one I'm going to leave open. I'm not going to add anything on the inside. And if you do that, you'll need to use a really good glue on your cab. These are just resin cabs that I had from my vast collection that I've made over time. And it's simple peyote. You could probably tell it's just simple peyote, flat, odd count, but you don't need to do that weird turn, and I'll show you why. And then I just embellish with some beads, and I would, continue beading around. If this was going to be a big embroidered piece, this would make a really nice pendant. I think I would just attach a beaded bezel. Here, I've got it backed with ultra suede and bricked the edges. Very sweet. Very nice. And I'm working on another version of this for next week that I think is going to be equally awesome. And the way I really like it. I like this a lot. Anyway, the way I started this, after you attach your cab to your foundation, this is Peltex by Pellon. Or if you use Lacey's stiff stuff, that works fine too. Or, anything that you bead on. Some people even bead on cardboard, which is amazing to me. You need a little visualization unless you have some kind of marking tool, which I do not have. I don't have any way to, get a good spacing, so I gotta hold my breath and wing it. And I take a pen, and I'm looking for 3 equal divisions. So I start... Sometimes I start at the bottom, like a center. I just make a mark, okay? And then I move up and I'm looking to make 2 arms up here. Pretty equal spacing. Don't have to be perfect. That's not good. Go this way. This way, this way, this way. So I've got 3 marks, alright? That helps with keeping things semi-even. Then, I just attach my needle to the interfacing. I tie in a simple knot. Easy, easy. When I do that, I'll be back. I decided to use orange. Because you'll really be able to see it. And you'll have to experiment with counts depending on the size of your cabochon. You'll have to experiment with how many beads to use, how big you want your bezel, how much you want it to cover. This is how I made these. So I used 21 beads around each section. Of 3 sections, I used 21 beads in each section, and I just beaded them up. Super easy. And I worked in groups of 6. Oh, that tangle. Go up in between them. Through the last 3. Pick up 6 more. 12. $19, $20, $21. My first set of 21, I bring my needle down, and I want space. I don't want it all closed in, I want space, so I bring my needle up to the next line and add another 21, just like I did on this one. Then I work to this line and add 21 more, and I'll be back. Alright. Got 21 beads around in 3 sections, and I put my needle down. This is the last section that I did, and I come up into the next section, up through the first bead I added. God, I hope you can see that. Okay. And then I just work peyote across the last bead. I put my needle down through that last bead, so I'll work across so you can kind of see, I hope. Skip a bead, go through the next. Skip a bead, go through the next. I got my pop next to me, and I know I'm going to hit it and just knock it right over. We're reducing down to a point. And you work in a circular fashion so you don't have to do any turns and you don't have any thread showing, or it's so minimal it doesn't even matter. Adding my last bead, okay, and I put my needle down through that bead and down through the backing. Alright, so you have one row added to the first section. Move to the next section. Up through the first bead, just like the first one. And work across in peyote, just like the first one. Once again, last bead. Go down through that last bead and through the backing. Move to the next section, up through the first bead, and continue. You get to the where you started. Going through the last bead and the last section. Down. And when you move to the next section, you're going to bring your bead up through the first bead, and then the second bead in that row you just added, that previous row. Come on now. Come on now. So you're going through two. You're like stepping up because we are graduating to a V. And continue across. When you get to the last bead, you're going to go down through two beads. Last one. Put my needle through that bead, that last bead, up bead, and then down to the first bead. Move to the next. Up through the first and the second. Continue across, down, up through the second. And you're going to continue graduating like that until you get to a point like this. Okay? You got that? I hope so. Down through two, up through two, work across, down through two, up through two, and then when you start anew, round through your sections, you're going to go up through three, down through three, up through three, down through three. And after a while, you're going to start getting a really long column that you got to go up and down through, and it's going to start getting very hard because these beads are all packed with thread and you're not going to be able to do that. So I'll show you what to do to make life easier. Alright, I've got 6 rows on. Dummy, go on. And it's starting to get pretty hard to get my needle through these bottom beads because there's so much thread going through them now. And it's not a good thing to keep trying to force your needle through there because you could really break a bead and that would suck. So instead of trying to go through all the beads, I go from behind. Get closer here. Kind of feel your way and go behind the beads and come up. You see that? Come up from behind, not through. And then go through the top rows where there's less thread. Tangle here, and then you can continue. You do the same here when you get across the other side. Go through, a couple, come out, and then put your needle down behind the beads. And that worked out very well. You can't see the thread. You're not packing your beads, so you might break your bead. That would suck. I've done that myself many times. So, I'll keep working here. show you what I mean going down. I'm adding my last bead. I'm putting my needle down through like the last 3, like this, not all the way down. Then I'm putting my needle down, just, come on, focus, just down in between the rows. There. And then move to the next, do the same thing. Bring my needle up to behind the beadwork, like this. Make sure your thread is following an open path, so it's not crisscrossing like this. Don't let that happen, because then you'll see it and it looks dumb. And then just continue across and do the same till you get to the points. Get ready to add my last bead to my last section. I think this is really versatile. I think you can do all kinds of stuff with this. Ouch. Go down a few. And back down. There we go. Come on, focus, you piece of crap. What do you think? Now, if you wanted to add, the crisscross here, just add beads in between each point. You'll have to experiment to see how many. Yeah, I like that. But I like the open one too, and the more I'm feeling it, that is really secure. I don't think that cap is going anywhere. This one I just have glue dots holding it down, and I'm thinking it's probably going to stick around a long time. But if you're nervous about it, use better glue on there if you want to leave it open. I thought it was more floppy, but it's not super strong. These are size 11 Delicas. I'm using 8-pound Fireline. And to finish, I just added some 8s. You could add crystals, you could add bugles, you could add whatever you want. For these spaces, you could leave it open. If you were embroidering on a pretty fabric or something and you want to leave it open, leave it open. Don't do anything. Just leave it. I got an 8 in a pretty turquoise color and super easy. I picked up an orange to top it off and go back down. Come on. Trying to get the spacing right is probably the biggest challenge. Shut up, phone. Another thing I'm going to try is putting a lot of dangles. If this was a pendant, just make it, put dangles, all big dangle, big, lush dangle from it. I think that would be pretty. But what I'm doing next week, I'm working on it to make sure I get it perfected. But so far, it looks so cool. I think you're going to like it. I like it. So that's how you finish. You add your little detail around in there. Bead away. Keep beading. So I hope you like it. I love it. I really like it. I like it a lot. You can experiment with counts. It doesn't have to be 3 sections. Experiment with 4 or 5. See what you come up with. Lots of fun. So, thank you, veterans, for making sure I could do this without being impaired. Allowing me to say what I wish, when I wish. Awesome. Now that you know how to do this, it's yours. Belongs to you. Your head, your action, your life. And I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the weekend. Got a mountain of laundry and dishes to do. And groceries. So, I will see you next week. You're all happy and inspired. Be nice people. Be nice. Just be nice. Appreciate what you have. Alright?